Several statues are scattered on the streets of Japan. One eerie night, a girl destroys a statue, saying she'll find even those who hide. At Reio University's entrance ceremony, Kei provides the opening speech as the representative. He's someone who hates the occult, but seems to be followed by it wherever he goes. As a child, he ran into an incident involving spirits and ended up hurting his friend because of it. For 2 years, he isolated himself, afraid of hurting others again, but his friend Aiko and his family were there, helping him return to society. She asks how his part-time tutoring is going, sharing that her young cousin is also there as a student. His return to society seems to be going well, but she's just glad that they're in the same school again. Later, Kei is given his first client to tutor, who's incidentally a prodigious student. Arriving at the indicated house, he sees a familiar surname and rings the doorbell. Surprisingly, Aiko opens the door, saying he must be there for her cousin, Yojo. Delighted by the coincidence, she calls the child over, and he's stunned to see someone with 2 pupils in each eye. She points to his arm, saying there's a nasty spirit there. A sinister energy gushes out. Guessing that it's coming from her toy rabbit, he tells her to throw it away, but she just chokes it out, apologizing as it was being naughty. Remembering how Aiko stuck by him, he swallows his fear and politely introduces himself as her tutor. Suddenly, she invites him to go somewhere haunted. He tries to refuse, but she threatens to accuse him of being inappropriate toward a child. Aiko supports her cousin, saying she used to refuse all the time, but is willing to join with him there. Even from far away, their destination sends chills down his spine, but Yojo insists that it'll be fine and forces her cousin to go faster. They arrive at a regular-looking phone booth that's supposedly haunted by a hostess, whose life was taken by spiteful customers. Filled with hatred, she haunts those who enter the phone booth or call its number. Hearing this, he's shocked to find Yojo idling inside, but saying she can't see anything. However, Kei's chill is definitely real. The cousins stubbornly try to call the phone, powering through all his attempts to stop it. Worried that something will happen to them, he calls it himself. A woman answers and tells him to hurry there. As red handprints cover the booth, Yojo tosses her toy rabbit inside and closes the booth. It suddenly bursts apart, and the 3 hurriedly drive away. Looking back, the girl says the spirit was exorcised. At home, Kei tells them to never return there and proceeds to the tutoring session. She shares that she clearly sees ghosts and is very fond of them. Recalling how the spirit earlier immediately responded to him, despite ignoring her, she asks how often he attracts spirits. Told that it happens 100% of the time, she excitedly asks to see his abilities, but is flatly rejected. Later, Aiko asks Kei to be patient with Yojo, as she lost both her parents about 2 years ago. She's likely been visiting haunted places, hoping to find her mother. While the doctor never found the reason for her double pupils, it actually allows her to see both the normal scenery and the dark one. While seeing the countless spirits littering the streets, her mother suddenly suggested that they go to an amusement park. On the way home from the delightful day, Yojo saw a dark energy coming from the corner, right before a truck driver sped around it and rammed into their car. After the accident, she became much smarter and for the first time saw the ghosts clearly. With this, she's certain that she saw her mother being taken away by a terrible spirit. She vowed to find her soul and bring it to peace, but she never saw it again. The next day, Yojo pressures him into another expedition and hands over a Jizo statue to protect him from bad things. Surprisingly, they're back at the phone booth. The girl wants to see the ghost in person, as she was physically blocked after calling too often. Kei is suddenly dragged into the booth, and the spirit strangles him with the phone cord, pushing past the defenses of the Jizo statue. Taking things into her own hands, Yojo pries the door open to retrieve the statue, and swings it down to destroy the entire payphone. Taking Kei's hand, she promises to always protect him, regardless of how many spirits he attracts. During the ride back, an eerie feeling still bears down on him. Surprisingly, Yojo took the phone with them, and is punishing it mercilessly. At home, considering how the child can see spirits, he wonders why she rarely meets any, and thinks that they might be avoiding her out of fear. Without realizing it, he was entranced and reached closer, marking the day they met. In Yojo's room, the phone booth ghost is torn apart by the other spirits there. After finishing their tutoring session, the child invites Kei to visit more haunted spots. Fortunately, he's able to get out of it, reasoning that he has an exorcism to attend. Immensely intrigued, she clung to him, acting cute but actually forcing him to let her join. With this, the trio is driving together once more. Jojo asks if he always gets an exorcism, so he explains how he's gotten one regularly, ever since the spirit incident he experienced. The shrine they're headed to now is where his priest grandmother resides. The drive continues, and they pass through the expressways, stopping by service areas along the way. Eventually reaching their destination, Kay is immediately doused in alcohol and scolded by his grandmother. Gesturing to Yojo, she questions why he'd bring such a terrible being there and accuses her of destroying 5 Jizzo statues. The child says she destroyed 7, indicating that she can see more than the old woman. Kay barely stops his grandmother from driving her away, insisting that he's responsible for her as his student. Convinced, she warns her against hurting the boy and calls them to proceed with the exorcism. Yojo then explains that she destroyed the statues, hoping to find the evil spirit that took her mother. Lying on the table for the procedure, Kay is asked about his health habits, consistently teaching him how to conquer his spirit attraction. Without her help, he would have never been able to avoid supernatural encounters and would be isolated from the world. As she begins the exorcism, Yojo insists on taking a peek, but Aiko manages to draw her away. With a photo of Kay's hand under the glove, the screen shows his pale hand, riddled with a web of sensitive nerves that become more painful the longer they grow. During the exorcism, they're cut with a sacred sword. After the procedure, the cousins bring some snacks, and Yojo notices how small the boy's hand has become. As Kay heads to the bathroom, the girls see the tray of severed nerves, which have accumulated like white hair. Despite the priest's warning, the child asks to take some, expressing her fondness for the occult. As such, the old woman tells a story about how their shrine performs memorial services for dolls. Various people offer them, and the most dangerous ones are locked in the treasury basement. On his way back, Kay sees a doll on the floor and suddenly gets the urge to take it to the treasury. Continuing her story, the grandmother says that anyone who enters will have their bodies possessed by the souls in the dolls. Unshaken, Yojo confirms the most dangerous doll's appearance and says she'll head to the treasury, as she can see the boy being pulled in by that very doll. Saying they're too drained from the exorcism, she takes the sacred sword to save him herself. Regaining consciousness, Kay finds himself in the basement and desperately struggles as the doll tries to possess him. As his life fades away, the child appears to rescue him. Quickly performing an exorcism, she faces the other dolls surrounding them and warns them against ever touching a human again. The angry souls rest in fear, and the ladies arrive to see the boy saved. He recalls his grandmother, asking why he was defending the child. He was unsure then, but now understands the reason completely. With all that settled, they say goodbye, adding that they'll be back. As the priest casts Yojo away, Kay insists that she's a good kid, with whom he wants to see eye to eye. Surprised by her grandson's maturity, she says they can buy something to protect the child from the angry Jizzos she broke. While his ability to see spirits might be burdensome, he can use it to protect his friends. Given an ornament to protect herself, Yojo later asks Kay to help her hang it up, offering to show her room. He's later brought to her room, and he stumbles back in shock, unable to believe that he never noticed the thick presence hiding until the door was opened. She says the souls there are the worst ones, and adds the evil doll from the shrine. It's tethered together, using the cut nerves from his hand. As possessing souls mimic their host's state, his sensitive nerves are perfect for inducing pain. He regrets wanting to match her perspective, realizing that she's far from normal. He runs into Aiko and tells her to run away, but she insists that it's just a collection of dolls. Assuring him that no harm will come his way, Yojo extends her hand and eerily asks for his nails. Ultimately, Kay left without asking anything, and he wouldn't return if he wasn't worried about Aiko. That said, she looks completely fine, and she repeats that nothing has happened during her cousin's entire stay. For some reason, Yojo spends the day demanding his nails. Suddenly, the idea of going to a haunted spot is brought up. The girls enter the car excitedly, but find their male companion missing. Refusing to join, he admits that he's scared and wants nothing to do with the occult after getting cursed as a child. Stunned, Yojo asks if he dislikes scary things and is troubled by his cursed hand. Hearing him confirm it, she tells Aiko to continue without him. Later, she admits thinking that he liked the supernatural like her and was keeping his hand as protection. Since the curse troubles him so much, she invites the older girl, to get something that can remove the curse. After all, Kei is important to her. They head to an abandoned temple, dedicated to miscarried babies. Rumors say there are ghosts of the unborn, and a goddess has become a vengeful spirit. Arriving later, Yojo tells Aiko to stay in the car, knowing the situation is that bad. She's instructed to call for help if the child doesn't return in an hour. Before reaching the shrine, she encountered thrice the usual amount of spirits, but continued forward nonetheless. The vengeful Kishimojin was a goddess that ate children. When the Buddha taught her how it felt to lose a child, she turned into a guardian who protected them. However, she turned malignant, as the spirits of the unborn followed her around. Yojo is ready for a fight, but they seem to be stronger than expected, and she's quickly overpowered. As an hour passes, Aiko rushes to find help. Meanwhile, the child was barely able to escape with a sprain, and realized that the goddess was using illusions. She attaches hair to paper dolls, which would serve as proxies for when she's in danger. Just then, she sees an unborn spirit creep up. On the other hand, Aiko has found Kei, as he acts uncaring despite hearing that she's in trouble. His friend tells him that she endangered herself, trying to lift his curse. Deep in the forest, Yojo struggles to run away from the goddess. The child shows a paper doll, infused with one of the unborn spirits, and takes it hostage to gain some distance. Several near-death experiences later, she's almost run out of proxies and finds herself surrounded. Suddenly, the spirits retreat. At the shrine's entrance, fear takes over Kei, but he runs forward, knowing Yojo is in danger. He eventually finds her in the temple, but he's brought the horde of spirits with him. Seeing her limp, he plans to draw as many spirits away as possible and circle to escape with her. Doing her part, she knocks something off the goddess's statue, and they rush away, with countless spirits chasing after them. Fortunately, Aiko is waiting for them, ready to drive away. They successfully escape, leaving the goddess furious. But Kei is plagued with different problems, as he's asked to cover expenses for the car and the child's medical fees. Although it was a heavy sum, he carries her home with a light heart, recalling how she did it all for him. Being on his back reminds her of her father, and her regret grows, thinking she could have saved her parents. To Yojo, friends are as precious as family, and she'd do anything to help them. Asking him to return to her room, she promises to explain everything. On their way, they talk about how paper dolls work, by having a part of the human infused into something human-shaped. All the dolls in her room have parts of her, such as nails, turning them all into paper dolls. As such, any attack towards her will go toward them instead. In other words, if any of her dolls attempt to attack her, the other dolls will suffer. Wanting to avoid pain, they'll stop anyone from harming her. She asked for his nails, as she wanted to protect him similarly. The dolls, still intact, are surely enraged by the pain the goddess caused. Tossing the statue's broken finger in, she blames it for their suffering. Kishimojin's screams fill the room, and the finger rolls back. Yojo offers her nails, saying they'd protect it from the others, but asserts superiority by making it beg for help. The child is capturing spirits to form an army that'd fight the enormous one that took her mother. To fight an unreasonable monster, she engraves in her heart the willingness to do whatever it takes to succeed. Making spirits fight other spirits, she hoped to capture the entire goddess, to make it defeat the curse in his hand. He believed that he'd have to live with his curse forever, but this opens up possibilities, to even save Aiko, whom he passed his curse onto. Needing the same thing, the two team up to gather dangerous ghosts. Yojo was shown the photo of the cursed hand. She knew something was wrong. Caught by her sharp cousin, Aiko revealed that the hand in the photo was hers. If they exorcise the spirit now, both of them will be free. The thought of saving her tempts Kei. She was the one who dragged him out of the darkness, but trying to save her would require him to dive deeper in. With this, he's at a crossroads that might permanently change his life. The next day, Aiko is excited for their campus tour, even insisting that they drive there to give her time to pick an outfit. Yojo unexpectedly tags along to their first day as college students. From the moment they get there, several students flock to Aiko, hearing of her remarkable accomplishments. While everyone is fawning over her, they judge Kei as a creep who's carrying a child with him. The opportunity to break out of his shell was provided by her, who stayed by his side, despite getting cursed all the same. He expected her to blame and push him away, but she told him not to mind, laughing brightly while he wallowed in self-pity. Thinking about this, she excitedly invites him to register for some easy classes. Her major doesn't fit any of her new friends' clubs, and she'd much rather spend time with him. They later scan through classes in the cafeteria. Seeing her hover over an urban legends class, he flatly refuses to join, making her upset. She's been obsessed with the occult since she was a child, but refrained from talking about it, since he was so afraid. The idea of joining appalls him, but her tears convince him to join the demo. Arriving in the class, they have mixed reactions to the professor's intense introduction. He takes out a recording of an art major's graduation project. Overwhelmed by stress, he filmed his self-immolation. Legend says that whoever watches the recording will find that they've become the artist and burn in their flames. Playing the video, they see the student sitting alone, surrounded by spirits. As if guided by ghosts, he doused his surroundings with gasoline and smiled. Suddenly, his face turned into K's. The artist ignites the gasoline and rolls around in flames. The man points to him. Not expecting that to happen, the professor runs to his colleague. Spooked, the other students leave too. Just then, Yojo's plushie began to smoke, likely taking the suffering that was meant for K. They need to find the spirit quickly, before he burns to ash. She sprinkles salt on the recording, and the spirit seeps out, forced to possess a doll she prepared. The curse targets whoever watches the video, so they'll make it dispel the flames by turning it into the target. As the exorcism finishes, his sleeve momentarily burst into flames. Unable to hurt him directly, the spirit is aiming for his clothes. Yojo is certain she can exorcise it at home, but they'd have to drive there to minimize the possible casualties. However, Kay insists on handling it himself, unwilling to let others get hurt for him. Sitting beside him, Aiko recalls their childhood, when he often used his spiritual sensitivity to protect her from whatever misfortune came her way. Then came the incident with her hand. He kept blaming himself, but truth be told, she was the one who put them in a dangerous situation. Without him, she might not have gotten off with just a cursed hand. Since he's always been there for her, she wants to be by his side as well. Moved to tears, and remembering that she dragged him out of his abyss, he asks for their help. With that settled, Aiko shares her plan. As the curse can only target his clothes, Kay's arm is the only thing left dressed, as it's the only thing he can stick out the window. The spirit is silent for now, but as soon as they begin driving, Yojo will play the recording, and it'll likely start a fire to escape. Everything goes according to her expectations, so they speed through the road, while the flames get stronger. The recording eventually ends, and the flames go out. With this, she tosses the doll into her room, leaving it to the others. Returning from the hospital, Yojo relays that the artist in the video was bullied and forced to do such a terrible thing. It started off as light jokes, but escalated until it involved his family. Ultimately, the story was twisted, and the victim was blamed for the curse. The first victim took revenge, but the enraged bully passed the suffering on to others. That said, Yojo thoroughly punished the aggressor. Aiko returns to her room and enters a secret niche filled with photos of Kei. She's obsessed with him and the supernatural, and now that he's determined to save her from darkness, she can have both to her heart's content. Reveling in his love, she finds it impossible to stop. Now that he's in college, Kei wants to survive with spiritual attraction and build relationships with others. For his first goal, he's been exercising to maintain a healthy body, strong enough to repel possessions. For the second, he's asked Aiko for help, picking a friend-making outfit he can wear. Just then, Nagaya, the club's president, asks about the reason he joined. Told that he just wants to make friends to travel with, the senior encourages him. At a crossroads, he was forced to choose between diving into the occult to rid them of their cursed hand or enjoying the normal life Aiko allowed him to have. For now, he'll try to return to society while thinking of the path to choose. That said, his friend spies on him through the glasses she bought, but quickly closes her tablet as Yojo enters the room. Asked about her tears, the girl gushes on about how her friend is growing well, but dashes forward as she sees her cousin tinkering with her tablet. In a matter of seconds, the child has a comprehensive grasp of the situation and calls her out for going over the line, regardless of her feelings. Suddenly, she hears a malicious ghost voice echoing from the device, which Aiko says is always there. Suddenly changing her mind, Yojo says she'll support her cousin's odd obsession. With snacks and front row seats to the spy camera, the two form a commentary show about Kei. Awkwardly sitting in a restaurant, he stares at the strangers in front of him. The observers are shocked as he steals his resolve, and introduces himself to them. One is Akira, and the other is Kotoko. He tries to make small talk, but everyone is awkward, and he can't carry the conversation alone. Watching well, Aiko comments that he lacks the basics of questions that keep conversations going. Fortunately, Nagaya comes to his rescue, noticing his bashful nature and inviting him to an after-party. Accepting, they later enter a van, where the president hands him some water to sober up. On their way, Kei suddenly gets chills, prompting him to share his spiritual sensitivity. Hearing this, the president shares a scary story about a certain club in the university. Around the time they recruit new members, they perform a mass ritual, taking everyone's life. The administration would surely shut such operations down, but the club always returns somehow. That said, one person's name remains constant, meaning they're the culprit. However, he always dies during the ritual and comes back the next year, looking like a different person. His name is Nagaya. As Kei realizes what's happening, Yojo sees the spirit's possession through the camera. The boy falls unconscious from the spiked drink, and the cousins rush to rescue him. He wakes up in an abandoned apartment and finds himself bound on a chair. All the other students are dead, and Nagoya tell him it's his turn. The ladies identify their destination and connect the dots as to why the spirit is preying on the university's students. The possession also explains how the culprit constantly changes his appearance. Yojo has an idea of why it uses an odd method of killing, but will confirm it later on. They soon arrive at the apartment and barge into the room Kei is in. Nagaya picks the child up, but gets offering sake forced into his throat. With this, the spirit is expelled, but the club president continues with his evil deeds. As Yojo expected, he was possessed because his ideals aligned with the spirits. She knocks him out and explains that his real name is Machida. Caught and scorned for terrible crimes, he began hating on everyone. They save the rest of the survivors and run before the police arrive. Outside, Kei is suddenly overwhelmed with a terrible feeling, as if there were several ghosts, then suddenly less of them. Yojo recalls how spirits devour one another, and explains that spirits lose life energy over time. Those refusing to pass on devour other spirits to increase their energy. It's likely what the spirit inside Machida is doing. Nagaya is doing all this to eat the souls of his victims and remain in this world. Showing off a doll containing the spirit, she tells everyone to escape. That day, one of the urban legends disappeared. Fortunately, the president died alone, and the others were rescued. Kei is regretful, having lost his chance to make friends like he wanted to. Hearing him complain about the increasing number of supernatural encounters, Yojo suggests that he learn to deal with them, instead of trying to avoid them altogether. While it's a smart proposition, he wonders if he can do it, and let go of fear like the child. As if reading his thoughts, she offers to teach him how. Finally, he asks how they found him, but Yojo just credits it to a woman's sense. The three friends have gone out to camp, capitalizing on the weather, and trying to help Kei forget the horrific experience he went through. That said, it's also for Yojo. As someone living in a relative's house, it might be difficult for her to express her wants. After making fun of their male companion, they proceed to complete most of their preparations. Later, Kei invites his precious student to fish, but it doesn't go as well as they hoped. Passing the boring time, she asks if he's decided on the matter of gathering ghosts. Saying he hasn't, he admits that he fears getting cursed again, or getting others caught in his misfortune. As he hints at discouraging her, she suddenly challenges him to a fishing match, saying he has to stop nagging if she wins. They battled for a long time, but none caught any fish in the end. Fortunately, they return to camp and find a beautiful meat platter prepared by Aiko. At night, he asks if she wants to be free of her curse, but is surprised to hear that she doesn't mind either way. Inviting him to walk, she suddenly goes on about the difference between studying and learning, and how the latter gains knowledge from the unknown. Similarly, she'd like to learn about the supernatural. She's been researching for a long time, wondering if the supernatural can be explained scientifically. Moreover, she's been looking for a way to cure them both. That said, there's something she'd like to learn, even before understanding the supernatural. Facing Kei, she says she's most curious about him. Moved, he makes up his mind and decides to join Yojo in her mission to eventually dispel their curse, and declares her importance to him. With this, he takes her hand and promises to stay by her side. Suddenly, she sees a spirit jumping off the bridge and asks Kei if he feels anything from there. Saying he doesn't, the two return to camp, leaving her confused. While sleeping, wet footsteps creep up to the tents and appear beside Aiko. She insists on going to the bridge, but is brought inside. Unable to see anything inside her, Yojo says she's being called, and they can't easily transfer the spirit into a paper doll. The child suggests letting her go to lead the way, as finding the spirit is the only way to save her. Seeing the target, they proceed with the plan, forcing it out of the bridge and into another doll that the boy places in a bag of salt. However, Aiko continues to walk to the edge. As Kei runs to save her, Yojo belatedly realizes that it's a group of spirits, after the boy from the very beginning. They're pushed over the edge, but they're fortunately prepared by tying him to a strong rope. Meanwhile, the child captures one of the spirits, leaving 8 more. Earlier, she admitted how difficult it is for her at night, as her supernatural sense is tied to her sight. Relying on his senses, they anticipated facing a group, making Yojo worry, as a number advantage often decides the victor. While walking to the shore, a chill runs down Kei's spine as he sees the spirits in the river. He tries to pull Aiko to safety, but she's been possessed, and they drag him into the water, barely leaving an opening to let him breathe. However, his friend uses this opening to pour a spirit into his body. Acting quick, he drinks offering sake to spit the spirit out and aims right at a prepared doll. Accumulating numbers, they begin turning the tides of battle, with Yojo quickly capturing the distracted spirits. However, their numbers grow to regain the advantage. Lining the dolls of the captured spirits up, she threatens to torment them all and suggests that they surrender before she does. With this, all 10 are captured in an instant and point to the one possessing the girl. Knowing they're lying, Yojo attacks the real culprit's doll as punishment, asserting dominance. As it rages from the pain, she uses her powerful spirit to perform the exorcism. Later, Aiko wakes up without a memory of what happened, but is told that it's better for her to forget. Right before dawn, Kei finds her by the river. Taking his hand, she thanks him for always protecting her and professes her love as the sun rises. Doing the same, he swears to always keep her safe. Later, he tells Yojo of his decision to join her, as it's the best way to return to society, as a clean man. Listening in secret, Aiko recalls how long it took to bring everything together and relishes the success of catching her beloved friend. With his decision to join, Yojo welcomes Kei to the other side. That said, he asks about the group of spirits they encountered, already afraid. Fortunately, it was a rare case, as spirits often fight each other to stay in the realm. There are certain exceptions, including the presence of an enemy, that forces them to survive by grouping up. She knows one that's just that strong, and it's the one who took her mother. As such, she referred to it as Kubo, or the dead sky. A new season has come, and they're all driven by personal goals. Yojo hands Kei a stringed coin, saying they'll use his spiritual attractiveness as a medium, and pray to find something useful. He holds the coin over a map, and waits for it to choose a location. Finishing their tutoring session first, they head out and find Aiko ready to drive. With this, they speed off to a new adventure. Initially, he was against his friend joining them, but he can't back out of their promise to stay together. What's more, he's entirely unsure if they're officially dating, considering what transpired while camping. Surprisingly, she went straight into the topic, as he rang their doorbell earlier. With this, he was pressured into personally labeling their relationship, and slightly realized how scary she could be. Sensing his anxiety, Yojo says there's no need to worry, as long as she's around. They finally arrive at S-Tunnel, a famous haunted spot, considered to be the scariest in the city. That said, the stories are mostly sightings of various ghosts, specifically those of women. While he's terrified, the two girls excitedly venture in with a camera. They continue moving, when someone suddenly holds Kei's hand. He mistakenly thinks that it's his girlfriend, but is shocked to find her far away. Yojo moves immediately, but it's too fast for her to catch. She suggests going out and driving in with the car, ignoring the boy's apprehension. Now they'll see what happens inside a vehicle. They stop in the middle of the tunnel, waiting for something to happen, and even considering various factors that may affect the appearance. As nothing happens, Aiko begins to doubt its existence, but Yojo is certain that she feels something. Just then, Kei sees a woman's body, looking like she was run over. Disappearing quickly, they decide to back up and check. However, the two grown-ups are shocked to find the spirit on the windshield. As usual, Yojo takes the lead and runs it over. Considering this reaction, She deduces that it can't enter the car unless they invite it inside. To their shock, she opens the door to let it in. Easily transferring it into a doll, they head back home, but Kay can't shake his bad feeling. Suddenly, he senses a woman beside him. The boy is brought home, but with him comes the ghost. It spends the rest of the night with him, who's unsuspecting, and is relieved that the day wasn't so bad. Lying in bed, the spirit's long hair drags him up the ceiling. Meanwhile, Yojo realizes that they've been tricked into capturing a random ghost. Acknowledging its cunningness, they head back to the boy and tell his mother that they mistakenly swapped phones. Before entering his room, they check on the spirit's location and are glad that they did, as Yojo was able to defend herself from a surprise attack, seeing through the enemy's illusion. Readying a doll, she crawls up the spirit's body and yanks thick locks of its hair out. She uses them to entangle its neck and slam her down. Bearing down and tormenting it, she demands that Kay be released. It quickly obliges, but is shocked to feel the child's tightening grip, punishing her for trying to take someone's life. The next day, the boy is completely unaware of what happened and thinks that it was all a bad dream. He screams in surprise as they tell him that it was very real and show him the doll containing the evil spirit. It makes him feel like a hindrance more than an ally. That said, Yojo assures him of his usefulness, as the number of spirits she has caught since meeting him has exponentially increased. While on the same team, they just have different positions and roles to fulfill. As it so happens, he's doing great at his. As he heads out later at night, Yojo asks to see Kay's backpack and sighs in exasperation as they find the tunnel spirit's doll there, planning to tag along. She takes it back into the house, bidding him goodnight. Suddenly, he receives a call from the tutoring agency and is told that he has a new student. Kay meets his new student for the first time and sees an over-the-top and clumsy girl. As she constantly comes close, he notices her eyes and the elaborate pattern covering them. Overwhelmed by her personality, he wonders if he can keep the student. She finally introduces herself as Airy and stares at his donuts intently. Seeing an opportunity, he offers a wager involving their food and who pays in the end. Although she excitedly accepts, it doesn't take long for her to get all the questions wrong and lose the opportunity to eat anything. It's an unorthodox method, but he sees why she needs personal tutoring. Annoyed and hungry, she incessantly rings the bell to order something else, but the waitress trips and douses her with water. Noticing something, he asks if her shoulders have ever felt heavy or if she's recently experienced sleep paralysis. Acknowledging her surprise, he points to the puddle of spilled water, where footsteps show. Moreover, he's felt a non-threatening presence since the moment they met. Realizing that he can see them, she begs for help, but is suddenly filled with doubt as he denies being a psychic. She seems to attract misfortune and feels that ghosts following her caused them. Recalling how she tripped when they met, she says she felt something hold her leg. Adding on, she shares how she had an older brother whom she loved. However, he was caught in her misfortune and died an abrupt death. Since that day, she's certain that he refused to pass on and is protecting her from other spirits. To let him relax and pass on, she has to be strong, despite her fear of ghosts. The reason she hired a tutor was to show him good grades as well. Feeling sorry, he introduces her to Yojo. Eri doubts the child at first, but quickly opens up as she makes a precise illustration of what she wants to happen. Taking a closer look, she sees two ghosts accompanying the girl. She prepares a necromancy ritual to peacefully capture nearby spirits. As a reaction shows, the child announces one successful capture. Delighted, Eri regards her as her senior among Kay's students. Later, Yojo tells them to return if anything weird happens again. Just in case, she takes a strand of the girl's hair, and he hastily explains that it's meant to protect her. They part ways for now, and Eri's eyes have lost their elaborate pattern. In her room, Yojo prepares a doll for a ritual. Meanwhile, Kay dreams of the ghost they caught. It's telling him to take care of the girl, as her dead brother is the real problem. Right before hearing who he is, he wakes up to a call from his student, telling him that Eri is in danger. Speeding through the night, the pair arrives at the girl's apartment, and Yojo immediately scales the wall to her room. There, Eri is experiencing sleep paralysis and opens her eyes to see her brother, gripping her neck tight. Fortunately, the damage transfers itself to the paper doll. Yojo breaks the window and dashes in to rescue her. However, the clock strikes midnight, and the spirit loosens its grip, ready to pass on his 49th day. The brother says he tried to kill her, out of mercy for what's to come. Distraught by what she just experienced, Eri breaks down in tears. Kei and Yojo are listening as Eri cries about how she believes her brother hated her for causing his demise. However, Kei corrects her, as he didn't feel any evil intent from the spirit. This comforts the girl, but not much, since she reports that she is still destined to die in 4 years. This shocks the two, so the girl explains that a god fell in love with her and wants to marry her when she turns 20 and take her away. Kei notices the picture frame with a picture of Eri and his brother together when they were still kids. However, he is disturbed to see a giant hand gripping the two in the picture, and he realizes that the spirit he saw when he was sleeping is in the background. He lets it be known to Eri, but she doesn't see anything strange about the picture. Yojo looks closely, and she reports that it's the same spirit they caught earlier in the day. They then notice that Eri doesn't have her signature stars on the pupils of her eyes. The star in her eyes reappears, making Yojo think it means something bad happened. She reports that the stars in her eyes means the spirit has branded her. The lights suddenly turn off, and while Eri can't see it, the room becomes filled with spirits. Yojo tells her that the mark of the god is luring in the spirits, and it will only be a matter of time until the dangerous ones come. This news makes Eri panic. She tells them that she has only lived in the apartment for 2 months, and that she's not sensitive to supernatural activities. Her brother has been the only ghost she's seen so far, and she is usually in sleep paralysis whenever she sees him. Yojo says they need to get Eri out of her apartment, and she is calling Aiko as she speaks. Kei sees that her message can be misinterpreted to mean that he is currently hanging out with a girl alone, so the boy is annoyed. Aiko is so worried that she appears in the apartment the moment the message has been sent. She's glancing at Kei, giving the boy chills. He knows what the woman is trying to convey, so he immediately introduces Aiko to Eri as his girlfriend. They go back to business, as Yojo explains the situation that spirits are gathering in the apartment, so they need to leave. She secretly text messages Aiko, explaining the situation of Eri's brother, and requesting that they let Eri stay in their house. Kei excuses himself to go to the bathroom. However, a ghost of a man with long hair and creepy eyes appears before the boy in the hall, freezing him up. The boy pretends not to see the creepy man, and passes right through him to go to the bathroom. He sits down on the toilet, quivering from what just happened. He pulls himself together and washes his hands. However, the spirit appears again, grabbing something in his head. He realizes that he's reaching inside to touch his brainstem. He finds relief that Yojo's doll is protecting him. He gets out of the bathroom and goes back to the bedroom to tell the others they need to hurry out. They go to the elevator and close the automatic doors, only to see the evil spirit's reflection on it. They are frozen, as they see that the evil spirit appears on every floor as the elevator moves down. Only the ground floor has no spirit in sight, so they run out of the elevator as quickly as they can. However, the long hands of the spirit appear to grab Eri. However, an invisible force protects Eri like a barrier, causing the spirit to grab Kei instead. Yojo realizes that the entity around Eri is protecting her from other spirits. The spirit's snake-like arm is dragging Kei back to the elevator, so Aiko and Eri grab the boy and pull. Despite the effort, the boy still ends up back inside the elevator. Before the door closes, Yojo slides in, leaving them both trapped. Eri flashes back to the time her grandfather asked her to leave the family house because of the curse around her. In that moment of sadness, his brother invited her to live with him at his house, only for her to witness him die because they were together. Eri bangs on the elevator door, desperate for her tutor to not go the way of her brother. Aiko embraces the girl and calms her, telling her Kei will be okay since Yojo is with him. Inside the elevator, it is still going down, despite the building having no basement. The door opens, revealing a dark, cramped basement hall, with the spirit with creepy eyes observing them from the end. The spirit summons 4 floating brains with the stems still attached, holding them like he is holding balloons. At the same time, ghosts appear in the elevator. As the evil spirit scratches the brainstems, so do the 4 ghosts feel agony. The evil gesture is for the 2 to come to him, so one ghost girl tries to push Kei and begs for them to follow what he wants. With the touch, Kei sees the memory of the girl when she was still alive, being pushed out of the elevator by another ghost victim, trapping her in the basement to be in the hands of the evil spirit with creepy eyes. Kei realizes that they shouldn't be pushed out of the elevator. He tells Yojo that the women are the evil spirit's victims, and that the enemy is forcing them to serve him. Yojo tells him that he has a spirit within her alien plushie that can fight the enemy and weaken him enough for them to use the elevator. She offers the plushie, with a black rope attached to it, to Kay. The moment she hands him the doll, she gets out of the elevator to charge at the enemy. Kay panics that she got out, but chooses to trust her and back her up. Yojo runs circles around the spirit, and it turns out she is actually surrounding him with her black rope. Kay pulls with the alien plushie, causing the spirit to fall as the rope tightens at his feet. Yojo tells the spirit that her rope is excellent for catching spirits. The evil is crawling away. However, the demon in the plushie has awakened as a giant head, with its mouth replacing the elevator's doorway. The spirit is terrified, so he tries harder to crawl, only for Kay to pull, causing him to get inside the elevator and become the toy of the more powerful spirit in the plushie. The elevator is now working, so Yojo pushes the button for the 3rd floor, intending to take the ghost problem in Aries' apartment. In the apartment, Yojo shows Kay that the evil spirit is now only a head with his brainstem exposed, and his victims are now scratching on his stem, the way he used to do it with them. The two return to the ground floor. Aries is so glad they are okay that she hugs and cries over them. She tells them that she can't go with them, since she doesn't want to drag them into her problems. She says she will be fine, but her sadness reminds Kay of his time being sad and alone to face his own curse. He tells her that he can't leave her alone as his tutor. Yojo follows up by saying that they have already caught the spirit and that they will always protect her. She holds Aries' hand and tells her to call her little senpai from now on. Eri finally agrees and hugs her in tears. In the car on their way to the house, Eri looks out the window to tell her brother that she now has friends protecting her. She tells Kay beside her that she will do everything in her power to find out what her brother's reason was for attacking her. At the house, they see that Yojo's room is a mess, with many of the plushies in pieces. Kay wonders how they can contend with a god that can do this. Yojo is not scared, thinking they only need to get even with it. Eri suddenly collapses, and the god appears before them, laughing at the thought that the little girl thinks they have a chance against him. Kay tells the god not to threaten his students. Yojo challenges the god, saying she will beat him. The god is entertained and tells her that he will come for her instead of Eri. Yojo doesn't back down, as she promises she will protect everyone. The god possesses Eri's body, and he tells them there is nothing they can do to stop him. He disappears, returning Eri to her sleeping self. Yojo knows something is coming and pulls the others out of her room. She tells them that the god upset the power balance within the room, so the spirits will now devour each other until only the strongest emerge. They hear the sound of savage beasts attacking each other from within the room, and then quiet. Yojo opens the door to see that the only plushie that remains is the head of a bear, and she calls the spirit a graduate. Kay's phone suddenly rings, and he is confused that Yojo is calling him when she is right beside him. The little girl tells him not to pick it up, or else he will be in danger. This makes the boy ignore the call right away. Aiko is making her way up to them, wondering why Yojo is calling her. The two want to warn her not to answer, but the door to Yojo's room suddenly locks them in by itself. Meanwhile, Aiko is on the other side, still wondering if she should answer her phone. Kay is shouting at her not to pick it up, but she can't hear him. Yojo quickly ties up the bear plushie, wraps it up in a plastic bag, and then ties it up again. She puts the bag in a backpack, puts chains on it, and finishes with a padlock. Aiko is about to press the call answer button, only for the room door to finally open, and Kay stops her hand at the last second. Yojo tells them that there are spirits in her collection that are too powerful to leave in her room, and that they call them graduates. The next day, the group finishes cleaning up Eri's apartment by putting a pattern of ropes that Yojo says will guide the spirits in and out. She then gives everyone papers with symbols on them, and they tape them in the parts of the apartment they can lead the spirits into. They all put the symbols in different locations, causing passing spirits to be too scared upon seeing his fate. They then go to Eri's bedroom to clean up all the mess the spirits left. Eri suddenly sees the time and realizes she needs to leave fast to catch her brother's funeral service. The group goes to the train station to say goodbye to Eri as she leaves for her hometown in Kyoto. The group is so tired from cleaning up AI's apartment that they return home exhausted. Yojo tells them that they were lucky the god delayed their fight since she had nothing that could counter the being. She explains that now that they don't have the hundreds of spirits to protect them, they need to gather even more powerful spirits to counter the god. Once they take the god down, he will help them take down the specter of death that took her mother, as well as save Eri from her fate as the god's betrothed. Yojo claims she killed a god before, shocking Aika and Kay. She said that she needed 3 graduates to do it then. Since it would be harder to capture a god than kill it, they need to capture 6 graduates, at least, to succeed now, not including the graduate they captured last night. She has a roster of 3 graduates. She also recalls that she has a transcendent Jizzo who is stronger than her other graduates. The mission now is to gather all 5 graduates and take them on their grand tour of haunted Japan, capturing every spirit in their path until they eventually find the 6th graduate. She has put together a map of haunted spots with the baddest spirits around Japan. She declares that once they capture the dangerous spirits in every location, they will crush the god and the specter of death. Her plan scares Kei but makes Aiko excited. The young man feels like he has no choice and agrees with the plan. Now that everything is settled, Kei wants to start Yojo's lesson, making the little girl feel down. This reminds Aiko that she is also behind with her homework, and she leaves for the library. As the study session gets done, Yojo asks her tutor if they can go for a ride. Kei takes her on a bike ride under the sunset. They talk about how they can't believe they started a fight with a god. Yojo appreciates how Kei was trying to protect her when they were in front of the divine being, since she doesn't feel alone anymore in her quest to fight the specter of death. She says he has made her happy, touching the young man's heart. The boy realizes that she asked him for a bike ride so she could tell him how much she appreciated him. He says that since he owes her one, they can go anywhere she wants to go. He leaves to regret it, since she wants them to go to the spot on her map. She doesn't know if it's a triple-class S-ranked haunted location. The moment they get to the entrance of Castle H ruins, they can feel from the tense feeling of the atmosphere that it is an S-ranked location. Yojo is thrilled to go in, unlike the poor young man. Yojo tells Kei that S-ranked haunted locations mean the spirit within them can either trap a victim in the place forever, or give the victim a curse that follows them forever. Just being at the Castle H ruins puts Kei in a cold sweat, with the pressure in the air making him feel like he's inhaling water. He tells himself it's okay, since he has survived everything that they've gone through so far. As they explore the place, Yojo thinks that the spirit might be powerful, but might be harmless, since all the stories never mention anyone dying. As they are about to trek to the waterfalls, a scary old lady appears and tells them she will be their guide. Yojo lends Kei her phone so he can review the stories about the location as they follow her. He finds that one story tells of an old lady being spotted at night. Yojo remains calm, seeing as at least they have someone to follow in the right direction now. The old lady tells them that in the late 1500s, the castle was attacked. That night, the garrison of thousands of men rushed out to fight the invading forces, leaving only non-combatants within the castle walls. Those inside were not allowed to surrender. The women were eliminated. Her story only makes Kei all the more nervous, but Yojo is not deterred. Determined to do everything she can to get to the specter of death, the little girl gives a doll to the young man, just in case the spirit comes at them. She also shows that she has the chained-up graduate in her bag, as well as that she is wearing the finger of Kishimojin they got from an adventure before. A hand then appears from behind Kei and reaches for his head. He feels someone behind him, and he looks back to see nothing. The moment the old lady takes her next step forward, the young man also hears footsteps coming from behind. He still follows her, not knowing if what he hears is just his imagination. Kei grabs Yojo's hand, but she feels like something is off with him. Unbeknownst to her, she is holding the hand of the old lady. Meanwhile, the real Kei realizes no one is with him anymore. He hears something approaching from behind him and doesn't know what to do. He runs, thinking that Yojo might be in trouble. Meanwhile, Yojo is still walking with the other Kei. He is smiling, making the little girl think he's acting strange. She falls to the ground, and she doesn't understand what just happened. The old lady sees Kishimojin's finger attached to her hand, and she thinks it looks delicious. Kei is still running as fast as he can. He stops sensing a presence hiding in the trees. He suddenly realizes that there are many spirits of samurais and servant women around him. He wants to run, but his body won't move as a spirit is trying to take over his body. He sees a vision of him on the shallow part of a red river as the spirits of women climb his body. He snaps out of it, not knowing what he just saw. He senses something is on his neck. He checks with his phone camera and realizes that a wound has appeared on his neck. The doll Yojo gave him also fell to the ground and is now broken into 2. He gets even more scared as his phone camera shows him that dozens of ghostly hands are trying to touch his neck and face. He screams and runs frantically, shouting for Yojo. He sees Yojo in front of him, but the little girl runs off, not looking at his surroundings. He falls from a slope. The body of Yojo suddenly appears in front of him, dead. He breaks down and tries to wake the poor girl up. He looks behind him and sees that he is already in front of the waterfalls. The reflection of the water shows women merging into one floating head, threatening Kay that he will be trapped in the place forever, as a dome appears to cover the entire location. The young man goes to his knees, crying at the realization that he is cursed and that Yojo is now gone. Elsewhere, the old lady reaches out for Kishimogen's finger, only for Yojo to jam it on her right eye, putting her in pain. She doesn't understand since the girl should still be unconscious, only to realize that the finger is moving on its own. Suddenly, Yojo hears Kay screaming for her, waking up the little girl. The old lady tries to run away, but Yojo whips her repeatedly with her black rope until she disappears. Meanwhile, Kay is still on his knees, traumatized that Yojo is gone. The body of his student suddenly becomes demonic and grabs onto him. While he doesn't like what's happening, he is relieved that it means Yojo is still alive somewhere else. He looks up and sees that a supernatural string is controlling the body from the dome in the sky. He also sees that there are countless skeletons wearing modern clothes enveloping the dome, and that they must be the remnants of the people who came into the location looking for ghosts. He grows scared, realizing he will end up just like them. The Yojo doppelganger grabs onto him tighter and lifts him off the ground. The real Yojo comes and jams the demonic finger into her doppelganger, making it disappear. Kay is so glad to see Yojo that he lifts her. However, the head spirit is still looking at them. Yojo brings out the graduate and unlocks it from its chains. The grinning spirit of the high priest of evil tongue emerges from the bare plushy head. It chants a sutra, so Yojo gives Kay noise-canceling headphones so they can't hear it. The young man looks around and sees that rats, birds, snakes, and other animals are all dying all around from the chant. The priest then starts pulling women's spirits from the dome. The head spirit counters by attacking the priest, but it doesn't stop its chant. The head cuts pieces of its neck, making him unable to chant. However, the dead animals on the floor speak and chant the same sutra. The head attacks many of the animals, silencing them. However, there are so many that the chant can still be heard. It is not long until the chant erases the dome. All the ghost women grab onto the head, reverting her into a whole spirit with a ghostly body. The evil runs away, so Yojo goes after her. The area is too dark for her to see, but Kay grabs her hand and runs to speed things along. He uses his supernatural senses to get a hang of where the spirit is, until they finally catch up to it. However, the spirit itself chants the sutra, and she is unable to stop herself. She goes down on her knees, believing it's the end for her. Yojo asks her if she wants to disappear or remain in one of her plushies. She is reluctant, but Yojo gets her prize. Just as they think that it's all over, Kay starts chanting the sutra. Yojo quickly grabs his mouth and presses her demonic finger into his throat, making him unable to speak. She also makes a spiritual attack on his consciousness, so the bare-head plushie will recognize Kay through his nails and make the high priest unconscious. It works, but Yojo is still not letting go of his throat. She thinks they have 20 seconds to seal the monk before he gets affected by the sutra's effect to drag them to the underworld. She removes their earphones, grabs her black rope in her bag, and leaves, sealing the doll for Kay. The bear's head lights up again and starts chanting. Kay starts tying up the head. It's still not done chanting. Just before the 20-second mark ends, Kay puts on the padlock, stopping the chant. Yojo lets go of Kay's mouth and tells them they would have been doomed if he were a second late. Yojo notices that there is a supernatural string still attached to the plushie she trapped the spirit in. She follows the string, leading them to the waterfalls. She puts her hands into the water, pulling out a wooden box with a talisman on it. They open it, revealing a mummified corpse hand. The evil spirit reappears. However, Yojo cuts the string leading to the mummified hand, returning the spirit to her human consciousness. She tells the two that the mummified hand was forcing her to be filled with anger and hatred. Yojo concludes that she is not an evil spirit, and the hand just turned her into one. The spirit says she divided her soul all so that the gentle people of the castle wouldn't be forgotten. Yojo elaborates that all the souls that went to the underworld will just disappear, and the main spirit just became weaker in the process. Not wanting her weak, Yojo tears up the paper sealing the old lady and the ghostly hand. While the hand returns to the main body, the old lady runs away, screaming. Yojo realizes that the old lady is another wandering spirit, and that she will pass on soon. She puts her attention back on the mummified hand, and thinks that someone who knows about the spirit must have placed it in the waterfalls on purpose. Kei starts digging a hole for the plushie, sealing the spirit to its final resting place. Yojo tells him that hearing his voice calling out to her and helping her find the spirit saved them both. He returns the favor by thanking her for saving his life. He tells her it has been extra scary this time around. This leads the girl to ask if it means he doesn't want to gather ghosts anymore. He replies that losing her made him realize how much he treasures her. He still wants to join her in the hunt to make sure he will never lose her. His response touches her heart, putting her in silence. As the man finishes burying the plushie, Yojo holds onto his hand and tells him to never forget the sensation. As the two are about to exit the ruin area, the spirit reappears to them. While she can never forgive Yojo for hurting them, she is also thankful she saved her, so she gives her bandages that will be the medium to call her whenever the little girl needs her. Returning home, Aiko is disappointed that they didn't let her come with them. To apologize, Yojo offers to take her to a place even scarier. She announces that their next location is the old F tunnel in O City. While Aiko is excited, Kei is sweating because it's another S-ranked spot. It turns out Yojo brought home the mummified hand, panicking Aiko and especially Kei, who thinks they just committed some kind of grave robbery. They all decide that the best thing to do with it is to find its new home while doing their tour through Japan's haunted spots. Kei tells his girlfriend that he was so scared about the last mission that it is tempting him to call the whole thing off. However, Aiko intimately tells him that he secretly loves the thrill. The creepy side of Aiko tells him while embracing him to embrace this part of him. Kei is frozen stiff, disturbed that she is probably right about him. On their car ride to the tunnel, Yojo tells the others they need to stop over somewhere first to pick up one of her graduates, just in case they need backup when things go rogue. She points at the GPS, showing that they need to go to the bank of the T River in O City, and says the location is extremely important since spiritual energy flows down there, keeping the graduate from weakening. She elaborates that the graduate is extremely dangerous as the spirit of a man who fought during the war. He is hard to take down and is cursed to wander the world for all eternity. She promised to help the spirit pass on in exchange for his help now and then. Despite the deal, he cannot stop the countless souls of his enemies still clinging to him from coming out. So, they need to put an extra seal on him once they get there to stop the soldiers from leaking out. They stop over at a convenience store to pick up bottled water. They tie it on their necks, as Yojo explains that the spirits of the soldiers are all still desperate for water. If they have water on them, the soldiers will leave them alone. They arrive at the parking lot near the T River, and they cross through the field. There they come across a creepy mannequin with strange circular marks all over its body and a bag over its head where the plushie sealing the graduate is. The TV on its feet suddenly powers up by itself, showing footage of a soldier in a trench, declaring he is the breakwater of the Pacific. Spirits of injured soldiers suddenly come out, struggling to go near the trio. One soldier passes through Kei's body and possesses him, making him so uncontrollably thirsty that he grabs the water bottle attached to his neck. He sees a vision of the war, where many soldiers are dying one by one in the chaos. They end up limping and crawling on the battlefield, desperate for water, as the breakwater of the Pacific tries to slay them one by one, no matter how countless they are. Kei wakes up from his trance, realizing he drank up all the water from the bottle. Invisible hands cling to him, making him fall to the ground. As it continues, the plushie Yojo has with her explodes from the stomach. This makes the young man realize that the marks all over the mannequin are teeth marks, and the soldiers are biting at him to get a drink. As the biting on his body continues, the plushie continues to explode like popcorn. Yojo takes action by throwing salt around Kei. However, it does not stop all the soldiers from going after him. Aiko deduces that if they put the extra seal on the graduate, the soldiers might stop. She runs towards the mannequin and removes the bag over it, revealing the chained-up graduate plushie. She grabs the plushie, making all the soldiers focus on her. She tosses her water bottle, luring the soldiers away from her, all while she runs to give the plushie to Yojo. She throws the plushie to Kei. Yojo gives him a net made of black rope and catches the graduate plushie with it, wrapping it in it. With the graduate's power sealed, all the soldiers disappear, and the TV powers off. Aiko and Kei are so relieved that they drop to the ground. Later, they stop over at a shop, where Aiko grabs a drink from a vending machine. On her way back to the car, she sees a vague figure of a man in a window reflection. Scared, she wonders if she just imagined it since she is still tense from retrieving the graduate. She smiles at the sensation of her heart pounding, loving the fear she's experiencing. She returns to the car, all fired up to go to the old F tunnel. The trio arrives at a tunnel entrance. Yojo checks the GPS to tell the others they are now in front of the new F tunnel, and that the old F tunnel is just by its side. The one that is not on the map is the old F tunnel. Kay senses terrible vibes from the old F tunnel, as if the air is heavy around him. Yojo declares that their mission tonight is to catch the graduate-level ghost, and that they should focus on exploring the old tunnel based on Kay's intuitions. Aiko wants to catch up on the stories about the old tunnel and pulls out her phone. She accidentally drops the phone under the car seat, so Kay looks down, seeing a creature with glowing eyes beside the phone. He realizes it's the doll of the S-tunnel ghost. Yojo grabs it, and they realize that it must have escaped her room when every spirit was being devoured by the high priest. She gives that plushie to Aiko, while giving Kay the defensive alien plushie, as well as the bandages the Castle H spirit gave them. Before they go inside the old tunnel, Aiko checks the stories about it regarding an intruder in a nearby tea house who eliminated a family using an axe. The ghosts witnessed in the tunnel are suspected to be those of his victims. As Aiko continues to check her phone, the screen statics for a second, making Yojo feel like something's off. She doesn't say anything and tells the others they are ready to enter. Aiko is left behind at the entrance since she's checking her phone signal, not realizing the two are already out of her sight. She realizes that there is someone coming out of the tunnel who is not one of the other two. The person shows herself to be a young woman with a camera. She tells Aiko that she passed by her companions when she was exiting the tunnel. Learning that Aiko and her friends came to explore the tunnel, the woman feels glad to see people like her, and she introduces herself as Anna, a YouTuber who explores haunted spots. They enter the tunnel together, and they enjoy each other's company in their walk. They find that they are suspiciously on the other side of the tunnel, already at the exit. They exit, only to find themselves at the entrance again. Confused, they go backward, only to return to the tunnel, just before the exit. Aiko tries exiting alone. While Anna sees that she is outside the exit, Aiko's perspective is that she is at the entrance. She grows scared, thinking that they can't get out of this loop. They look at the ground and see human organs. They try to ignore it, focusing, instead of retracing their steps and going back to the entrance to get out of the loop. Unfortunately, it still leads them to the exit. They check, and they see that there are more organs now on the ground. They run outside the exit, finding themselves again at the entrance. Meanwhile, Yojo and Kay are still walking the tunnel, suspiciously with Aiko behind them. Yojo makes Kay realize that dark energy is coming out of Aiko, but they are not revealing to the doppelganger that they've noticed. Yojo reveals to him that Aiko looked like a deformed spirit even before entering the tunnel, and that she was just playing cool so the spirit behind them wouldn't run away and miss their chance to rescue the real Aiko. Meanwhile, Aiko and Anna are still walking in the tunnel. The YouTuber is so scared that she is holding tightly onto Aiko's hand. She starts telling the story of the spirit of the tunnel and how it's rumored to cut them into pieces. As they walk close to the exit again, Aiko sees that the organs on the ground are now a complete digestive system. She grows scared, realizing that the girl beside her is not who she seems. Aiko is suddenly transported in front of a wall with an iron door, and she's in the old F tunnel. A huge spirit with an axe comes out of the door, so she runs. She finds herself in front of the same dead end. The giant spirit is getting nearer, leaving her scared. The spirit, once disguised as Anna, reappears to grab her in place, so that the axe spirit can attack her freely. Meanwhile, the plushie Kay is holding just broke its legs, and they realize that Aiko is in trouble. Suddenly, the Aiko doppelganger attacks the young man, so Yojo counters by stabbing it with her demonic finger. The fallen spirit justifies that since she didn't get away from the axe wielder when she was trying to let her friend Anna escape, then the two should also share their fate. Yojo seals her away in a paper talisman in the middle of her raging rant, and she demands that the spirit guide them to Aiko. Elsewhere, Aiko is so scared of the axe spirit that she has fallen to the ground. The spirit in the plushie she's holding breaks out, causing it to clash with the axe wielder. Unfortunately, the axe wielder is the victor, putting Aiko in danger. As she is just behind the steel door, the spirit victim, lying within its shadow, pulls her in. Kay and Yojo arrive just in time in the old F tunnel to see her get pulled into the darkness. The axe spirits see them and gesture at them to follow him into the door. Determined to rescue Aiko, the two enter. The two find the tunnel to be dark and flooded. Kay sees that the plushie in his hand has its eyes being squished by an invisible force. It turns out it's because the axe spirit is right behind him, trying to squish his eyes out. They run, only to find a victim spirit struggling to see without eyes. The axe wielder reappears to pull the tied victim towards him and lets her walk like a dog on a leash. Yojo explains that the axe wielder is telling them that they will have the same fate. They get a move on with the evil spirit chasing them. They find Aiko tied up and gagged. They look at the tunnel walls and see that the countless faces of the evil's victims are attached and still living. The axe wielder suddenly appears from above and attacks the young man, and so the plushie in his hand gets torn apart. Yojo frees Aiko, and Kei carries her on his back since she can't move her legs. One spirit victim grabs onto Kei's leg to stop him from exiting, but Aiko throws salt at her, and the spirit lets go out of pain. With them all out of the tunnel, Yojo releases one of her graduates. It is the undying soldier known as the imprisoned martyr. The martyr summons an eye pattern covering a large area, and anyone who is in it experiences the suffering the soldier had while in the war, causing the axe wielder to be weakened. As the battle between spirits continues, Yojo video calls Aiko's phone, and they put it on the ground as they run away so they can observe what's happening from a safe distance. The axe wielder strengthens itself to end the martyr, but the soldier only heals up again. This leads him to make the symbol on the ground bigger, weakening the axe wielder even more. The axe wielder eats the soldier whole. However, the soldier only pops out of his belly. This leads the martyr to unleash a bomb that makes his area even bigger. Meanwhile, the trio are still running away. The symbol on the ground is so big now that it's catching up to them. Kei throws Aiko for Yojo to catch, so she won't be within its area. However, the young man gets caught in the area, draining the nutrients in his body so that he looks like he's skin and bones. The axe wielder is so weak now that he is lying on the ground, suffering. The axe wielder asks the martyr to kill him. The martyr puts a bomb in his mouth, leading them to be caught in a huge explosion. The group goes back, and Yojo offers the dying axe wielder to be her servant and puts himself in her plushie to survive. He chooses to live, so he gets sucked into the plushie. It turns out Yojo has put nails all over the doll, leaving the axe wielder trapped in suffering. Yojo then goes into the tunnel again and comes out minutes later with 2 sets of paper talismans. One set houses the pure victims to be released in a temple, while the other set, tied up in rope and vibrating, houses the victims who willingly joined the axe wielder to cause suffering to be put in her room. Just as they are about to start the car powers up by itself. The spirit of Anna climbs out of Aiko's body, angry that they all came out alive when she went through pain. She moves the car forward, intending to let them crash. Yojo sprinkles the spirit with salt, putting the spirit unconscious and stopping the car. The little girl seals her away in a paper talisman and gives the paper to Aiko for her to decide its fate. On their way home, they first go to the temple to drop off the pure victims. By the next morning, Aiko is on the couch, in deep thought about what happened last night. This is the first time she felt like her life was in danger, making her feel reckless for treating their adventures as just fun and games until now. She feels too traumatized. She stands up, wanting to go for a walk. Yojo holds her hand and asks to come with her. She joins her as they go for a train ride. Yojo tells her that she doesn't need to force herself if she finds that their adventures are too scary for her. This leads Aiko to think about how Yojo ended up in her care after her parents died. They bonded so easily, eventually treating each other as family. She thinks about how she is tagging along with her and Kei, and how she needs to pull her weight more. Back at the house, Kei is still lying on his bed, thinking about what Aiko must be feeling after the tunnel. He texts Aiko, asking if she's okay. The girl's eyes are sad, not knowing how to reply. Aiko and Yojo go to Taira no Masakado's grave, one of the most famous haunted places. Yojo asks why she came to the grave. Aiko explains that back in middle school, she and Aiko went on a trip to see the Imperial Palace. At the time, they were about to cross a street, only for Kei's head to hurt as they were within walking distance of Masakado's grave. Aiko realized at that moment that the grave was a dangerous place. It's now the first place that pops into her head every time she thinks of scary places. She tested herself and walked to the grave now, realizing that if she couldn't, she would stop coming to explore haunts. Since she didn't stop and got only more excited the more they reached the grave, she now knows she still has the thrill in her. She promises Yojo that she will continue going to haunted places with her. Going back home, Aiko is relieved to know where she stands now, and she is excited for tomorrow's haunted location. She looks at her laptop, researching how containing a spirit in a medium works. She learns that if one puts slime over a humanoid-shaped mold, the spirit contained within the mold will still hold despite the slime taking damage. She puts Anna's paper seal into the humanoid mold, drenched in slime. This causes the paper to vibrate as if the soul is in pain. She seals the slime mold in a box tied up with black rope. She declares with a creepy smile that she and Anna will be friends forever. Later, she tells Yojo that she wants to buy a cheap abandoned house so they can keep the graduates there for easy access. She justifies that, since the house is already known to be creepy, no one will ever come there. Yojo gets excited, and they go through the internet to find properties nearby. They find a spot, which Yojo declares is perfect. They drive to the house, which looks old and barren. The owner is glad to get rid of the place he only inherited from his dad. Many of the people who came in contact with the house got cursed, leading to many rumors about the location. Despite the owner warning them not to go inside, the two want to go in anyway.